My brother sent a group text, family ski trip to Aspen. Everyone's invited to attend, then privately messaged me, not you. Mom said you'd kill the vibe with your kid. I replied, have fun. What he forgot, I'd booked the entire lodge under my corporate account for a business retreat. When they arrived, and the manager said, there's been a cancellation. I was already in. They passed out the jackets in my parents' living room like it was a draft. Red tissue paper, big white boxes. Everyone clapped for each kid as they tried on matching navy ski jackets with their names stitched on the sleeve. Aspen Crew, 2025, across the back in white. When it got to my son, Jamie stood up and smoothed his shirt. He's 8. He practices being ready. My brother glanced at the last box, then at my mom and said, we didn't have his size. He handed Hammy a scarf. It was a cheap acrylic thing with a loose thread. No name, no pass envelope tucked inside like the others. No little laminated card with the mountain logo. My niece waved her pass at him. Look, we get to go up the big lift. Jaime still smiled. Cool scarf, he said, winding it around his neck. His ears were pink. I felt my hands shake. The envelopes were sitting like little white bricks on my mother's coffee table. Each had a kid's name in her careful cursive, not his. I caught my brother's eye. He looked away like he was watching the game on mute. My mother gave me her tight church smile. It's a logistics thing, honey, she said. You know he gets overwhelmed. We'll plan something special for him later. Everyone's invited. My brother had texted in the group chat a week earlier with ski emojis and a picture of the lodge I'd booked. My dad hit the thumbs up. My sister replied with heart eyes. I had answered, great, I'll send the rental codes. On my phone, buried under the cheerful thread, was the private message my brother sent me the same afternoon. Not you. Mom said you'd kill the vibe with your kid. I had typed back, have fun, and stared at the words until they went blurry. Then I booked a second seat to somewhere warm. Jamie pulled a folded drawing from his pocket and held it out to my mom. He'd drawn a mountain with little stick figures smiling on the slope. He labeled it Family Ski. His name was in a heart at the bottom. My mother patted his head. We'll put it up later, she said, and slid it under a stack of catalogs. I swallowed hard. I wanted to grab the drawing and the scarf and my kid and run. Instead, I picked up a stray ribbon and tied it into a bow. Looks nice, I said. My voice sounded like someone else's. I had to breathe through my nose so I didn't cry in front of everybody. I kept hearing the ping of the group chat in my head. Everyone's invited except us. I'm 36, Seattle operations manager for a mid-sized tech startup you've never heard of unless you handle procurement. Single mom. I adopted my son when he was 2. He likes knock-knock jokes and building cities out of boxes. He's polite sensitive. He reminds me to water the spider plant. My family has always been loud and close and somehow expensive. I grew up the oldest and the capable one. I got good with spreadsheets, then with vendor contracts, then with credit card points. Somewhere along the way, capable turned into wallet. It wasn't big at first. My mom called when her phone plan was past due. I set it to autopay on my card. My dad needed a new CPAP machine. I covered it and said, happy birthday. My brother needed a down payment on a truck. $5,000, he said, just until my bonus hits. His bonus never hit. When my parents fell behind on their mortgage 2 years ago, I was the one who met with the bank. I moved $950 a month into their account for a year. It kept the house out of foreclosure. It ate my emergency fund and most of my tolerance. Last spring, my mother wanted new countertops. Just the deposit, she said. $8, $500 later, I had a picture of a slab of quartz in my messages and a tight feeling behind my eyes. I told myself I was buying us a place to gather. We did gather. I did the dishes. They love to gather. We have Sunday dinner almost every week. My parents' place still smells like pledge and pot roast. The kids run circles around the coffee table. My mom keeps a stack of envelopes by the door, and my dad keeps a stack of bills under the placemat. I always leave lighter. They also love to take photos with the grandkids. I noticed last year that Jaime got cropped out a lot, always accidentally. Oh, the lighting was bad, my sister said, or he blinked. The Christmas card on my parents' fridge had my brother's 3 and my sister's 2 in matching pajamas. Jaime was sitting on the floor next to the tree with a Lego in his hand. He wasn't in the shot. I brought it up once gentle. Hey, maybe use the one with everybody. My mother's face went stiff. You know we love Jamie, she said, but we just did a little thing for the biologicals for the older relatives. It's simpler that way. Biologicals, like I had adopted a fern. I stood there with a bowl of mashed potatoes and nodded while my stomach clenched. I thought, pick your battles. We needed the Sunday dinners, right? He needed cousins. I swallowed 100 little slights because I believed the big picture was still family. This fall, my brother Sean started bragging about a family ski trip. He sent me links to the lodge, the nicest one in Aspen, the kind of place with heated sidewalks and fireplaces that look like art. He said it like he was treating everyone, but he's never treated anyone. Everyone's invited, he wrote in the group text. We need 12 rooms. Kids get lessons. Grandparents get the suite. Make it happen. I can make anything happen if there's a portal and a budget. My company has a corporate rate with that lodge. We do an offsite every other winter, and I'm the one who negotiates. I could get us 40% off rack rate and late checkout. I also have a corporate AMX with a point structure that's frankly ridiculous. So I booked it. 10 rooms, 5 nights, January 12th to 17. $18 $400 deposit on my card through the corporate travel portal, which I'm allowed to use for family if it's my personal charge and I don't expense it. I had to sign a form. I signed it. I booked ski school for the kids. I put together an itinerary in a Google Doc with tabs for rentals and restaurant reservations. I created unique codes for boots and lift passes. I ordered the jackets wholesale and had Aspen Crew 2025 embroidered at a shop down the street. I paid for the boxes. I was stupidly excited. I pictured Hamey in his jacket. I pictured him gliding on the bunny-sloped cheeks, red me cheering at the bottom. I pictured the photo we'd finally get with everyone in it, and I let myself believe. Then Sean slid into my DMs. Not you, he wrote. Mom said you'd kill the vibe with your kid. I stared at my phone. I waited for a JK that didn't come. I asked, are you serious? He sent back, don't make this weird. We need this. You know how he gets. He gets overwhelmed when grown adults make him feel like a stranger. Yes. He also gets overwhelmed by too much noise if he hasn't been warned. He also gets overwhelmed when his scarf is the wrong texture. He's 8. I typed, have fun, because my choices were that, or drive to their house and scream. I chose the only thing that didn't put me on their bad list for life. I still ended up on it. They had me over for Sunday dinner anyway. The jackets came out like prizes on a game show. Jamie got the scarf. My mother slid his drawing under a catalog. My brother didn't meet my eyes. Cousin Maya, my aunt's daughter, saw my face. She looked at Jaime, then at the white envelopes on the table. There's not one for him, she asked. My mother said, he's special. Maya pressed her lips together. She rubbed Jaime's shoulder. Later she whispered, this is messed up. I nodded. I kept nodding so I wouldn't say anything I'd regret. I walked home with Jaime holding my hand and his scarf trailing on the sidewalk like a flag. He didn't ask questions. He just said, do we have hot chocolate at home? We did. I made 2 mugs and watched him blow on the steam. He said, will we go down a mountain ever? I said, we will go down something. And then I opened my laptop. I didn't write a manifesto. I didn't call a meeting. I did what I'm good at. I logged in. The corporate portal had our reservation at the top. Aspen Ridge Lodge, January 12th to 17, confirmation Q, 411972. 10 rooms, block 2 suites, non-refundable deposit already posted. Next to it was a line in red. Final cancellation date, December 28th, 11:59 MT. Penalty increases after that. It was December 20th. 8 days. Plenty of time to become a person who kept paying for a family that pretended my son didn't exist, or 8 days to stop. My mouse hovered over modify. I could hear my mother's voice in my head. Don't be dramatic. Don't make a scene. Don't punish the family. I didn't want to punish anyone. I wanted to stop being the person who set the table for a party where my kid wasn't allowed a chair. I clicked modify. A box popped up with the account manager's number. I called. Her name is Jana. She wears glasses, drinks almond milk, and knows me by my extension. Hey, Ellen, ready for Aspen? Actually, I need to cancel the block. There was a pause. Keyboard clacking. All 10 rooms. All 10. The suites, too. Do you want to rebook? Not with this group. My voice shook a little on the last word. I cleared my throat. Just process the cancellation. I'll eat the fee. The fee is $150 processing. It's waived if it's rebooked within 6 months, but I'll process as you wish. Thank you. I exhaled. I didn't realize I'd been holding my breath. I watched the screen refresh. The gray boxes that said confirmed turned red. Canceled. Refund pending to card ending 4,492. My corporate card, my personal charge, my choice. I canceled the rentals next, clicked through to the ski shop, deleted the codes one by one. JK Ski 01, MK 02. My fingers were steady. I canceled the van reservation I'd prepaid. $600 back to my card. I canceled the dinner at the fancy place where my mom likes the salad with feta that makes your teeth squeak. I deleted the Google Doc, then restored it, then took it offline. I am not a martyr or a saint. I am a woman who remembers who created the spreadsheet. I didn't send a blast. I didn't tell them to check their emails. I didn't explain myself. I had already said, have fun. That was all the notice they gave Hammy. I opened a new tab and typed Seattle to Cabo because my brain chose ocean. 2 coach seats leaving the same day. They were scheduled to fly to Aspen. Miles covered the flights. The little boutique hotel with the courtyard and the orange trees had a double room. The map showed a taqueria 2 blocks away and a beach 5. The total was less than the deposit I'd just freed. I clicked book. I printed the confirmation and slid it into a folder with Jaime's passport. I told my boss I'd be offline for a week to take my kids somewhere quiet. He said good, with the tone of a man who understands burn rates and burnout. I arranged for Miss Patel down the hall to feed the cat. I ordered sunscreen and a bucket hat and a new book about whales. I didn't tell Jaime until the night before. I wanted to be sure the cancellation processed. When the refund hit my card 3 days later, I sat him on the couch. Hey, I said, guess what? What? We're going to the beach. Like a plane. Like a plane and then tacos. He blinked like I had said we were going to the moon. Then he whooped and nearly fell off the couch, and I had to grab his elbow, and we both laughed. I printed the screenshot of the private message from Sean and tucked it behind the travel folder. Not because I planned to use it in a PowerPoint, but because I wanted to remember the moment I stopped pretending. On the day they were driving from the airport to the lodge, we were already through security. Jaime's hand in mine, our backpacks light. He wore his new bucket hat to the gate and made up a song about lizards. The scarf was in the donation pile by the door at home. It was not our problem anymore. They landed in Aspen to find an empty lobby and a manager who had my name on a screen with a red line through it. I know because my phone started buzzing as we taxied into the sun in Cabo. 20 missed calls by the time we got to the taxi stand. 16 texts. Sean, what's going on? Mom, call me now. Dad, your mother is upset. My sister, are you okay? Everyone is freaking out. Sean, again, did you cancel the lodge? Then you ruined everything. Then those kids are crying. Do you realize what you did? I read them standing by a palm tree with warm air on my face and my kid pointing at a gecko on the wall like it was a miracle. I typed and erased 3 times. Finally, I wrote, I won't fund a family my kid isn't part of. I sent it to the group, not just to Sean. I didn't name names or attach screenshots. I didn't call anyone a liar. I put the boundary in a complete sentence. Mom wrote back, don't be dramatic. It was just a size issue. We had a scarf. Then you should have talked to me. Adults don't do this. Cousin Maya texted me privately. I'm sorry, she wrote. That text was awful. They're pretending it didn't exist. Then do you and Jamie need anything? I told her we have tacos and a pool and a beach. She sent a heart. Sean switched to insults. You're vindictive. You're letting your therapist ruin this family. You should have told us sooner so we could make other plans. I thought about all the times they told me after the fact. After they rearranged the Christmas card. After they bought 5 jackets. After they wrote everyone and meant us. I typed, I did tell you. You told me not to come. I heard you. Then I put my phone on, do not disturb, and handed Jaime a cup of mango. We walked to the beach. The sand was warm like a blanket that's been near a heater. Jamie dug a hole and announced it a crab mansion. He learned to snorkel in the shallow water and popped up with his hair slicked down, shouting, I saw a blue fish, like he'd seen a comet. At dinner, he bit into a taco, and salsa dripped down his arm, and he laughed like it was the best thing that had ever happened to him. He fell asleep with his hand in mine and the ceiling fan clicking soft above us. The texts kept stacking. Mom, come home. Come explain. Dad, let's not ruin the whole vacation. Aunt Linda, call me when you can. I think this needed to happen. My sister, I get it. I'm trying to talk to them. I repeated the sentence again to anyone who reached me. Calm. I'm not your backup bank. I won't fund a family my kid isn't part of. Some wrote back, that's not fair. Some didn't respond. Maya sent me a picture of the kids in rental gear at a cheaper motel 2 towns over, faces puffy from crying and sleep. I was sorry in the way you're sorry it rains at a parade you didn't plan. On the 3rd day, my mother left a voicemail that started with, we have always included Jamie, and ended with, please fix this. The middle was a lot of how I embarrass her. I didn't call back. I sent her a photo of Jaime standing in the surf, up to his shins, pointing at a pelican. I didn't write a caption. We watched the sunset from a low wall with chipped paint. Jamie leaned on my shoulder and said, this is the opposite of a mountain. Yep, I said. He said, do they have scarves here? We laughed. On our last day, he put his hand on my cheek and said, thank you for taking me, even though I'm a lot. I had to swallow twice before I could answer. You're not a lot. You're just right. Anyone who says different is wrong. He nodded like we had established a rule, and maybe we had. We flew home with sand in our shoes and sun lines on our noses. Seattle in January smelled like wet leaves and coffee. I unpacked the swimsuits and put the travel folder back on the shelf behind the folders for taxes and school forms. I slid the printed screenshot of Sean's message into a manila envelope and wrote boundaries on the tab with a Sharpie. It wasn't a trophy, it was my reminder. I didn't go to Sunday dinner that week. I told Amy we were having home Sunday. He helped me set the table. 2 plates, 2 mugs of cocoa. I put 2 extra chairs at the end because habits are hard to break, and because leaving doesn't change the shape of a table. They stayed empty. The room felt quieter and also kinder. Cousin Maya came by with her little boy and a bag of bagels. "I'm Team You," she said at the door. "No fanfare." The kids built a city out of Amazon boxes and named the streets after snacks. She sat on my couch and rolled her eyes at family politics and then said, "I saw the message. You're not crazy." I felt something unclench between my ribs. My mother tried for a reset the following week. She texted Sunday dinner at 5:00. "Bring Jamie." I wrote back, "I will not bring my child to a house where he gets a scarf while others get passes." She sent a frowny face, then a thumbs up. Prayer hands. I set the phone face down and stirred the soup. Life didn't blow up. No car tires were slashed. Nobody stood under my window in the rain. There were fewer pings from the group chat. I left the chat on mute. I stopped checking their social media. It was like walking out of a store you thought had everything and realizing you already had the thing you needed in your pocket. In February, on a random Saturday, Jamie and I drove to the tiny ski hill east of the city. He wore a borrowed jacket from our neighbor. We rented little skis. The hill was the size of a backyard, and the lift moved like a slow old man. Jamie went down once, arms out like he was balancing on a line. And then he went down again faster. And at the bottom, he threw up his arms and shouted, "I did a triangle." I clapped my hands and my eyes stung in the cold. An instructor in a neon beanie gave him a high five. No one said he would kill any vibe. No one handed him a scarf. That night, he drew a picture of a mountain and a beach side by side. He labeled it Family Winter. He put himself on both. He put me next to him. He left space for others if they ever decided to learn how to stand with us. I taped it to the fridge. I didn't slide it under anything. I stood there for a minute looking at the lines crisscrossing the white paper, the small figure in a bucket hat, the stick legs on skis. It was not a revenge plot. It was the map out of a place I'd been stuck. The next Sunday, I set 2 bowls on the table and 2 spoons. The extra chairs were still at the end waiting. Maybe someday they'll be filled by people who see my kid as real. Maybe not. Either way, I was done paying admission to be told we didn't belong. I learned that money can buy rooms and jackets and lift passes, but it can't buy respect for your child. That had to be earned or withheld. We made cocoa. We clinked mugs. Jamie grinned chocolate on his lip. He said, "What are we doing today?" I said, "Whatever we want." He said, "Good." And he went to get the box city humming. The house felt small and exactly the right size.